A few months ago, we bought a 128-year-old house in the Croatian mountains, but the vision came first. We had it before we ever found this house. Today, we wanted to show you our rough sketches, our moodboards, and our first floor plan ideas for the rooms. We made them to test one thing: could this old house hold the vision we already had? These are not final plans, they are a test. Most of the house started to make sense. One part still did not. We knew the kind of place we wanted to make, somewhere calm and warm, where you feel taken care of. An idea like that feels simple in your head. Then it meets a real house, with walls and corners and things you cannot move. So it was never only about the house being pretty or old, it was about whether it could hold what we already wanted to build. The first sketches came after we saw the house, not before. We had the listing photos, a few memories from the visit, and a lot of guessing, some of it from a map online. So those first drawings were off. Slowly, we turned them into our first layouts. Rooms, walls, doors, moved around again and again. But none of it had real measurements yet. It was asking a question on paper. Could the idea we had actually live inside this house?
Bring me into golden sunlight. If I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side.
Amazing drink to celebrate.
Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire.
Now, our first job is measure everything. Enjoy.
After we bought the house, the first job was simple and slow. We measured everything. It took 2 days. Rooms, walls, doors, windows, ceilings, the corners, the distances. And something changed. The house stopped being a memory and a guess. It became a real space, with real numbers. From that moment, the idea had to get more honest. After the measuring, we gave ourselves one early rule. We will not start by knocking down the old load-bearing walls. First, we tried to adopt our layouts to the house, not the house to us, because those walls are not just obstacles, they hold the proportions and the character of the place. Some of this might still change later, but we did not want to change the house before we understood it. Once we had real measurements, we started testing versions. The first versions had many more rooms, and on paper, they fit. That was the strange part, everything fit, but with every room we added, the house felt more divided. The version started to look repetitive, one the same as the next. It stopped feeling like one connected home.
Windows here. This was covered, protected somehow. You can still see some basic isolation. So I don't know why it's not completely covered, just one part. Maybe there was a wall, there is some nails. So maybe this part was unused.
At one point, we even tested 3 duplex layouts, connecting the upper floor with the attic. They worked on paper too, but each one needed its own staircase. 3 additional staircases took up too much space. The rooms became tighter and the layout stopped working the way we wanted. It was a good reminder. Just because something fits does not mean it belongs.
I always start from the window. I like to imagine the view, a small table, a cup of tea, coffee, and of course a very nice book.
You always start from the window. Yeah, he always starts from the window, so he imagined that everything is so perfect, and then we fight about it.
We don't fight about this. And so, for me, a room is more than a bed. It's a place where you can press the off button and rest. If the window is right, the room already has a beginning.
So we went the other way, fewer rooms and each one with enough space to live in, so where you can spend the whole afternoon, not just sleep and leave. In the end, the limit was never how much we could fit. It was what the house would feel like after we fit it. None of it is final, but this was the first version that felt like it belonged to the house. The bathrooms were a problem of their own. Today the house has no modern bathrooms at all. One option was to shrink the bedrooms and fit small bathrooms around them. We did not like what they did to the rooms, so we tested the opposite. We placed the bathrooms in side parts to the largest rooms. That gave us bathrooms without turning the bedrooms into narrow spaces built only around the bed. For now, it is only our idea. The same test showed up in the mood boards. We did not want to make the house look old. It is already old. And we did not want something so modern that the house disappears behind it. The hard part is in the middle, where the old and the new sit together and the house still feels like itself. With the rooms, we feel we are on the right path. Nothing is final, but the direction makes sense. The attic is more open. We drew a version with one more staircase, but drawing something does not prove it works. That is something our architect still needs to check. And then there is the ground floor. The ground floor is a different story. The ground floor is the hard one. Upstairs, every room has one job. Down here, one floor has to do everything at once. It has to be the heart of the house, the part everyone passes through and actually uses. The last part is what worries us. It will be easy to make a beautiful formal room. Something that looks great in photographs and then sits empty most of the day. For us, a room like that is that space. And there is a second problem. Part of this floor has to carry all the practical, invisible things that keep the rest of the house working. We still do not know how much space that takes. Until the professionals answer that, we cannot honestly decide what the shared space should become. It is not that we have no ideas. We just do not know enough yet to choose the right one. And that is okay. This is why we are careful with the word vision. The layout can change. The drawings can change. When an architect looks at all of this, they might say many things have to be done a different way. We are ready for that. Because the plan can change, the feeling cannot. That feeling is the part we have been protecting from the start. One more thing matters to us. It is a big house, but we still want it to feel like a house. One whole house, with its own rhythm. Even if many things change, that has to stay.
So because we are saying that we have problem with the ground floor, so that's the point. So and then we can ask so what do you think what should do with the space? Simple.
Yes, this is a good question.
So just something like that.
Yeah. If this were your house,
We talk about different question and I will.
now if it were your house, and then you want to say, what was the question?
The ground floor is the one part we still cannot solve. So we want to ask you something. What makes a shared room feel like a real part of the house, rather than just a room that looks good? Tell us in the comments, we read all of them, and right now, at the beginning, this really helps. So show this other side.
And this is the other side.
At least we have stairs. It works. But here we're going to the backyard.
So yeah, this is our backyard. Completely protected by cliffs. It's very quiet, very cozy.
I don't know if it doesn't look big for you, but look at it.
It's very big actually.
But before any of this can become a real project, there are quieter steps. These are not the nice parts, not the paint or the furniture. They are the slow parts. Measuring again. Waiting for answers we do not have yet. The things that have to happen before anything visible can change. And then, while we are still far away, the first visible change started outside the house. If you made it this far, thank you for following this story with us. We are still at the very beginning, and a lot will change before this house truly comes back to life. If you want to follow it from the start, subscribe and stay with us. See you in the next one.